Right, okay, so this is just a shorter video than normal, and it's for all the runners and the riders. Uh, just a bit of stretching, about 20 minutes of stretching, because we don't do enough, and I thought I'd just make a short video that you can use again and again whenever you like. It's not just applicable to runners and riders, of course, really it's also applicable to people who sit down a lot and hunched over a computer, so for many of us it's also applicable. The main reason it's for runners and riders is that it really does work on the legs and the hips quite a bit more than the upper body. Anyway, I think we should get going. I'm going to go through 15 exercises. We'll do 30 seconds each as a sort of warm-up, and then we'll do them all for a minute each. It's up to you. If you just want a quick stretch, just follow the 30 seconds, carry on and do it again all for a minute if you want to later on. But as I say, if you just want a quick stretch, just do the first bit. If you want a longer stretch, do the second bit as well. So mostly it's going to be seated or lying down because it's more comfortable. We'll get going. We're going to start with some hamstring and quad stretches. So let's go. Lying on your back, left leg flat, right knee up, pointing towards the ceiling. Just bring in the knee in towards the chest, and you can just ease that in. Put your hands around the back of the thigh muscle there, and just ease the knee in towards the chest. Just a little bit of work there for your quad. Don't pull too hard, just a bit of pressure. Okay, pointing the knee at the ceiling, we're going to work the hamstring. What we're going to do is straighten the leg and relax it, straighten it and relax it. We'll do that a few times. And now straighten the leg, keep it as straight as you can, keeping the left leg flat on the floor, hands behind the quad or behind the calf if you can reach, and just ease the leg in towards your chest. Don't pull too hard. So let's swap over, just do the other side. Right leg flat, left knee in, hands just behind the thigh muscle. Just ease the quad in towards the chest and just feel a bit of a stretch there in the front of the thigh. Okay, point the knee at the ceiling, straighten the leg. Flex and extend the leg at the knee, and now let's extend the leg. Hold it as straight as you can, hands behind the thigh, and just ease the leg back. Don't pull too hard, try and keep it as straight as you can. Okay, let's relax out of that. What we're doing next, come to seated, right leg flat, take your left foot over your right leg. Now, any hip replacements, this is not for you. This exercise is not for you if you've got a hip replacement. Okay, so you're just going to ease the knee in towards your chest. You've got the torso nice and straight, and you'll feel a little bit of work there, just in your glute on the left and in the outside of your hip. Let's swap sides, do the other side. Left leg flat on the floor, right foot over the right knee, and just ease that knee in towards the chest, keeping the back vertical, and you'll feel that stretch down here in the hip and in the glute on the right side. And just hold it there, just breathing gently. Okay, come up to kneeling. First thing we're going to do, on the knees and the toes, feet a little bit wider than your backside, so you can let yourself kneel down. That might not work for all of you. When your quads are particularly tight, you'll feel this stretch in your quads, but basically you're just getting a stretch in the front of the thighs here. And it's the setup for the next one. So what we're going to do now is flatten the feet and let us kneel back onto the heels. This is stretching your ankles. You might find it a little bit difficult. You might find you get cramp in your feet like that, and you have to just release it for a second. Just let your weight sink back, and you'll feel a stretch here up the front of your ankles. Not somewhere we stretch very often. Okay, kneeling up into a half lunge position, so that the knees over the heel and this hip is over the knee here. Tip your pelvis, so you're tilting your pelvis backwards and you're trying to get a stretch right in the front of the hip down here. So it's a deep hip flexor stretch. It's particularly useful if you're cycling. Probably I'll see better from this side, to be honest. So we're tipping the pelvis back. It's like a bowl full of water. You're trying to tip the water out the back, and you'll feel the stretch just here. You might have to work at it a little bit, and it might be that you're really flexible there and you can't feel that one anyway. Always try. It's always worth a try. Okay, we go for a long lunge now. So we just extend the back foot out. We're getting some distance between our feet. Back's vertical, and we just let our weight press the pelvis towards the floor, and you'll feel a stretch right through your pelvis, all the hip flexors. Get a nice stretch. Just keep breathing gently while you're doing it, taking your time. Swap sides. Good distance between your feet. As I say, just let your weight take your pelvis down towards the mat. Okay, right, hands and knees now. Onto your hands and knees. We'll start with the right leg. Put your right leg out behind you. Press the heel away and feel a stretch building up in your calf. If you want to, bring the left knee a little bit further forward. You're pushing that heel away and feeling the stretch in the calf. Okay, swap sides. Again, pushing the heel away, feeling the stretch in the calf on the left side now. Bring the right knee forwards a little if you wish. Just helps with the stretch. Just a couple more stretches after this one. Back to your hands and knees. All we're going to do now is from the hands and knees, push your backside up towards the ceiling, straighten the knees. They come down into down dog. You'll feel that stretch all the way down the backs of the legs, particularly in the hamstrings, getting the ears between the elbows, and just control it back to the floor nice and steady. Don't bash your knees on the floor. And when you're ready, take a deep breath as you exhale. Push yourself back up into down dog. Okay, come back down. One more exercise. We're going to be threading the needle. So we'll start that again. So, hands and knees. Take your left hand, reach through the gap, take your left shoulder to the floor, and just reach as far as you can. It's like you're reaching under the bed. You're trying to find something you've lost under the bed there. Come back up. When you're ready, take a breath. As you breathe out, down you go again, stretching underneath, taking the left shoulder to the floor. Get a nice stretch down your back here. Let's repeat that on the right. Take the right hand through the gap under your left shoulder, taking your right shoulder to the floor. Come back up. When you're ready, take it through again. Reaching as far as you can, taking the right shoulder to the floor. And that stretch down your back. Okay, hold it there. So they're all short stretches, just 30 seconds each, mostly 30 seconds each, I think. We might have gone slightly awry, it's hard to say. I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to do each of them. We're going to go through again, but this time we'll just do it for a minute. It'll feel like a long time doing it for a minute. But of course, these are all stretches that you really should be holding for quite a long time. A minute's great if you've got time to do it. Just rearrange the watch. Okay, back onto your back. And we'll go through again, this time for a minute each. Lying on your back, left leg's on the floor, right knees pointing at the ceiling, hands behind the thigh, and just ease the thigh into the chest. And breathe. Now and again, if you just gently release the pressure and bring it back in again, you might find you'll come a little bit closer to the chest. So you've got to avoid getting any cramp. So if you feel it start to cramp, just gently release it and come back into the stretch a little bit easier. A minute is going to seem like a long time. But don't worry, it's all worth it. If you're regularly running and riding, let's have a change. Put the right knee at the ceiling, and we're just going to extend and flex the leg at the knee, just work the hamstring up a little bit. And when you're ready, straighten the leg, keep it as straight as you can. Hands either behind your thigh muscle or behind your calf muscle, depending on how short your hamstrings are. Mine are exceptionally short, so I have to get a hold a bit lower down. You'll also see my leg's not particularly straight. You might be able to get yours straighter, but you're keeping the pelvis down on the floor and you're just hinging the leg at the knee. You're hinging the leg at the hip, sorry, and bringing the knee back towards the chest and just stretching your hamstring. Release it occasionally and bring it back again. See if you can just bring it in a little bit closer. Making sure you're keeping your pelvis on the floor. Let's swap and do the other side. Right leg flat, left knee up. Ease the left thigh into the chest. The thing is with running and riding is it certainly shortens your hamstring. So does sitting for long periods of time. Your hamstrings get used to being shorter, and that manifests itself in a couple of ways, but particularly in lower back pain. It's all connected together, and where you might think you're experiencing some back pain, it can well be because you've got short hamstrings, and these stretches will certainly help with that. But we're just working on the quad at the moment. Let's have that's having a minute of stretching. So if you just relax it now and again and ease it back in, see if you can get a little bit of a further stretch out of there. And when you're ready, you point your left knee at the ceiling, and we're just going to flex and extend the left leg at the knee. And when you're ready, straighten the leg, hands behind the thigh, and just ease the knee in towards the chest, keeping the leg as straight as you can, probably straighter than mine. Keep the pelvis down. If you start to lift your pelvis up, you're changing the exercise. It's not really working. So keep the pelvis down and just bring the knee in as far as you can. Feel the stretch in the hamstring. Just gently release now and again and ease it back in. And you might find it gets a little bit closer each time. Okay, relax out of that one. Sit up. So you're keeping your back straight. I'm going to put the right leg down, take the left foot over the right leg. Again, if you didn't watch the first bit, if you've got hip replacement, this exercise is not for you. You're trying to keep your back as vertical as you can, and you're just going to ease your knee in towards your chest, and you'll feel a stretch there in the glute, in the side of the hip. Just keep breathing, easing the knee in towards the chest. Trying to sit up as straight as you can. Enjoy the stretch. This one's particularly noticeable in the glute. You'll feel that getting quite warm while you're doing the stretch. Obviously, once we finish this side, we're just going to swap over to the other side. Left leg flat on the floor, right foot over the left knee. Sit up straight. Ease the knee in towards your chest, and you'll feel a stretch building in the glute here, in the side of the hip too. And just hold it there. Keep breathing, feeling the stretch building in the glute. Certainly getting warm. Once we finish this one, we're going to go back to a bit of a slightly different quad stretch. Might work for you, it might not. Try it out and see how it goes. Now we're just easing the knee in towards the chest. Okay, gently release that one. Come up to kneeling. So we're going to start with knees are down and you're on your toes. Feet are slightly wider than your hips, so that you can kneel back. You've got your torso vertical and you're just kneeling back, you're letting your weight go between your feet, and you'll get a bit of a stretch in the quads here. Now, depending on how warm they are, you might not get very much. It really does depend. If they're quite flexible, you might not feel it either. Let's just try it out, see if it works for you. It's a good stretch just to sit in for a while. And just taking your time. We're going to move on from this one. We're going to do a stretch in our ankles. Not somewhere we stretch very often, but again, it gets tight. It gets tight in your feet as well. It's all connected to having your calves tight. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to keep the knees down. We're going to extend the feet, so the feet are now flat, and just let your weight sit between your feet. You might find you get cramp like that. So just keep going, allowing your weight just to ease you down. If you get cramp, just release it for a moment, go back to it, and just see if you can flatten your ankles out, getting a stretch through there. Oh, I'm struggling here, I'm getting cramp in my toes. Pushing too hard. If you're doing too much, you keep getting cramp, you're trying too hard, so just bring your feet in a bit towards you, so you can't put as much pressure on them. You're getting a nice stretch here in the front of your ankles, you'll feel it all in there. I mean, it is a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest, but it's good for you. Okay, we're going to kneel up. We're going to work on the hip flexor. So on your left foot in front, your left knee's over your left heel, your right hip's over your right knee. You're going to tilt the pelvis backwards. So imagine the pelvis is a bowl and we're tipping water out of the back. So you're tipping it backwards, your tailbone's going underneath, and you'll feel a stretch building up just here in the front of your pelvis. It's a deep hip flexor stretch. Particularly good one for the riders, particularly the road riders who spend all that time bent over onto the handlebars. Nice stretch there. Help you feel a little bit more flexible and a bit more comfortable on the bike. So just keep tilting the pelvis back. Make sure you can feel that stretch happening. Swap sides, do the other side. As with all these stretches, you might find in some of the cases, tilting your pelvis back again, it's an area where you're not particularly tight, and no matter how you try, you struggle to find a stretch. Don't worry about it, it's quite alright. It just means that you're in relatively good shape there and you don't need to extend it. You're tipping the pelvis back, you're trying to tip water out the back. You're getting the stretch in the hip flexor in the front of the hip on the left side. Trying to keep the body fairly vertical. Once we've done this one, we're going to do a general sort of hip flexor stretch. So we'll do that by left foot out in front, left knee over the left heel, get a bit of distance between the feet, torso's vertical, and just let your weight take your pelvis down towards the mat, and you'll feel a stretch throughout the hip flexors here. Hopefully if you did the sort of 30 seconds warm up, you'll be starting to feel that you are a bit warmed up and these stretches are having a bit more effect, and that you can actually stretch a little bit further than when we went through on the first occasion. And just hold it down there, keep breathing. Letting your weight just take your pelvis towards the floor. And swap sides. Get your weight on your hands as you swap over. Same thing again, distance between the feet. Torso's vertical, and just let your weight press the pelvis down towards the mat and getting a stretch through the hip flexors. So once we've done this one, we'll be moving on to the calves, and we'll be doing some calf stretches as we did before. Hopefully they're a little bit warmed up now, they're ready for a good minute stretch, and you'll feel a little bit more benefit from doing a longer stretch. Now just focus on letting your pelvis move towards the mat. Feel your weight taking your pelvis down towards the mat. And put your hands down, relax out of that one. Come up onto all fours. We'll start with the right leg. And take the right leg out behind you. On the toe, press the heel away. And if you wish, just bring your left knee in a little bit further and just adjust your position so you're getting a good stretch through the calf in your right leg. And just hold it there, pushing the heel away. Again, tight calves cause all sorts of issues, particularly for runners. Causing issues in your feet, and also some stability issues. You know, if you haven't got the flexibility there, it makes it easy to trip and fall. So, calf stretching. Let's swap sides. Pushing the heel away, bring the right knee in if you wish. Just adjust yourself till you can feel the best stretch you can get in there. And keep breathing. Just 3 more stretches to do after this, and then we're finished. Hopefully you can still feel that calf stretch. Feel it easing off, just adjust for your position again so you can bring it back on. You'll find that the more you do it, the more flexible they get. Okay, so let's come into our hands and knees again. All we're going to do this time, a bit of down dog. So we're going to breathe in. As you breathe out, push your backside up towards the ceiling, straighten the legs, take your ears between your elbows, and you'll feel that stretch all the way down the backs of your legs. Bring the knees gently back to the floor, take a breath. As you breathe out, push away again. Ears between the elbows, straighten the legs, take the heels towards the floor, feel the stretch all the way down the backs of the legs. Careful not to crash your knees into the floor. Come back to kneeling. Right, okay, we're going to just have a little bit of a stretch for the back. Threading the needle. Keep your weight on your right hand. Your left hand you're going to take under your left shoulder, reaching as far as you can. Take your left shoulder to the floor. Breathe in. As you breathe out, come back up to all fours. Breathe in. As you breathe out, stretch again. Reaching all the way down there. You're trying to reach all the way under the bed just to find that lost object. You know it's under there somewhere. We're just trying to promote a little bit of flexibility through the back here. So as we reach down and under and take the shoulder towards the floor, rotating the shoulders, we're getting some flexion through the back. Swap sides. Put your weight on your left hand, take the right hand through, taking the right shoulder towards the floor. Okay, hold it there. That's it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're feeling a little bit more flexible now, and obviously this video will remain up there for you to come and do as often as you like. If I were you, if you're running and riding regularly, just a little stretch session like that once a week won't hurt. If you can do it more than once a week, you'll definitely benefit. Anyway, thanks for turning up. I'll see you again. Bye.